these little Lizzy buttons right here. I made them in honor of my daughter. She was a really good artist. And when I go to these schools, my goal is to give these buttons to young girls. When they come to that crossroad, think about Lizzy. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Think about Lizzy. You can't help who don't want to be helped. My grandfather fascinated me so much as a kid, and I only had him for about 9 years, close to 10. Born and raised from Mississippi. He had over 200 acres of land, worked on the railroad. I remember always visiting him in Mississippi. My name's Lehman Riley. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I write children's books, and I base my books based off of my grandfather, Papa Lemon. I remember always visiting him in the 60s and early 70s and how my grandfather carried himself. I mean, it was like, I thought he was a celebrity because Black and White would always call out his name, hey, Lemon, Lemon, you know. So as a young child, I put him on a pedestal because he had so much respect from everyone. A man that didn't take anything from anyone, Black or white, and he was respected. When he passed away, I just could not let that be the end of my grandfather. So I decided to write children's books using him as a history icon so kids can learn more about their own family. But my trick is to get the kids to learn how to write. With my classroom sessions, I always talk about my grandfather, my time with my grandfather, and how I want the other kids to learn more about each other's family's history so they can, you know, talk amongst one another about their family history, their grandparents, and what their family life was like. And, you know, we learn so much about each other once we start digging in and start talking to each other instead of judging each other, you know. So we're more alike than different, the kids find out.
To be able to utilize your gift for writing to impact the lives of children in the way that you have, what has that meant to you?
Oh, I love it because it gives the kids a voice. You know, there's so many kids that have so much inside of them that they want to get out, but they're not sure how to do it. And so as I teach them my experience, telling stories and then putting it to a story, it gives them that imagination that they can write a story also, and they can tell their truth and what they see things. We just really need to embrace that with kids because kids are honest and they want to tell their truth. And so I give them that opportunity when I'm in the classrooms.
You posted this on social media as well. Underneath the book on depression, you said, come on, people, let's get the conversation going. We all have been depressed at one time in our life. It's not a shameful thing. Talking about it will help so much. It will empower us all by sharing. What kind of impact do you feel that this book has maybe been able to have by creating a vehicle through which kids and maybe adults can have conversations about depression and difficult issues?
As I've been going through so many different school districts and I meet a lot of kids and I notice a lot of kids are struggling with a lot of family issues and they see so many different things. They're keeping internal, which festers in them. And we all have someone in our families that's suffering with depression. It's not a embarrassing thing. It's something that we need to really talk about, especially in the African American community. We don't tend to want to talk about our feelings and what's hurting us and how can we make ourselves feel better. I have daughters that battle with depression and see what they're going through. And then I tell them stories about when my grandfather died, how I felt. And that gave them an opportunity to open up and tell their story. I had a letter from a lady, I believe she was from Alabama. Her son was being bullied so bad that he wanted to commit suicide. And I think he was around 4th grade. A lot of kids are battling with depression. So as I talk to the kids in my classroom, and he by chance came across my Abraham Lincoln book, the Depression book, and he read that book. And his mother wrote me a letter telling me, thank God that you wrote that book because your book saved my son's life, because he was considering suicide because he was being bullied so bad. But my book gave him courage to tell his parents what was going on and to be able to confront the bullies and how they were treating him. I would love to be able to have other kids and parents talk to their kids and ask questions about that depression. Your signs of depression. Your kids can be really moody at one time and you don't know why, or you might notice them with cut marks on their wrists. That's a sign of depression in there. So if parents can just start talking to their kids and give them that safe space, let them know how they really feel, and let them know it's okay. It is okay if you're feeling that way. Just talk to us and let us help you with that. A lot of kids can navigate through that with a support group rather than holding it in and trying to get through the school day or every day with that internal pain and those jagged shards of glass that's in them that's making them feel like they're worthless and they don't have no value. So if we can just start talking more about that and just even tell their kids, hey, yeah, there's times I felt this way. And, this is how I got out of it. Or I might still be going through it. But it's okay, we can still get through this together. I've had a lot of support through NAMI, a National Alliance on Mental Illness, and they sponsored me with this book. It's a way for kids and families to really talk about it, and not knowing that I would need the book myself. 2020, my daughter was murdered, and it sunk me into depression. I miss my baby girl every day. It's still a struggle for me. It's just a horrible nightmare. I don't want no family member to go through what I went through. And so I wrote a book on grief, and it's called Losing Lizzy. That was my nickname for her, was Lizzy. And that's teaching kids, parents, the stages of grief and what you will experience as you're going through grief. And there's no time frame on the end of grief. And people will tell you, okay, well, you'll get better here and there. It's on your time when you'll get better. You have your good days, you have your bad days. You'll hear a song that'll plunge you down, but then you think of something that your loved one did that'll put a smile on your face. One day you will smile again. You will tell jokes. I had guilt like you couldn't believe, because that's my baby girl. I'm the father. I'm supposed to protect my baby girl, my kids. And for her to be gone was just something that really, really struggled with me. But with a lot of prayer, and God gave me the story to write on this. So I'm hoping this will help someone, and I would love to reach out to young girls, because there's a lot of evil out there. And if I could help somebody avoid this, it's I guess that's my calling now.
To write through grief, you had to be in a place where writing was something you could do again. I know you've mentioned that for some time people were wanting you to write, but you had to write when it was the right time for you to do that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it took me, God, over a year before I could write anything. Like I said, I couldn't even read within that year. And it was just like my focus was gone, and I was grieving so much for my baby girl that I just thought none of my writing even meant anything. After probably the fourth time, someone said, could you please write this, because our kids are going through so much. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. And then I have to pray on it. So I prayed on it, and God gave me the story to write. And it's just a way for me to keep my baby girl, Lizzy, relevant. And, it's just, she was my She was my mini me.
Sometimes you have to feel the pain that you're in, and then you have to go through it before you can find the words for it, I would imagine.
And there's no way around it. You got to do it. If you're going to stay on this earth, you're going to go through these phases and these stages to get to that other side. What saved me was my one daughter told me, she was like, Dad, we're still here. We still need you. You know, my grandbaby, she needs you, you know. And that's pretty much sort of snapped me out of it, because I still had other kids here that needed, you know, not forgetting, but we're living. I'll say that. That day before my daughter passed away, I was shopping at Target with my wife, and a soft, still voice told me twice, call your daughter. Call your daughter. And I'm like, well, she's at work. I'll call her when I get home. You know, I don't want to bother her at work right now. I know she's at work. I get home, I get busy, I forget to call. And that night, I'm saying my prayers. As I'm getting off of my knees, I look at my clock, and it said 11:10, 11:15, around that time. And that's when my daughter was transitioning. She had passed away at the time. And that's the thing that gets me the most. I didn't get that last conversation with my daughter. I should have called her when I had that voice tell me, call your daughter, call your daughter. And I didn't. So that's the thing that gets me a lot. That's like, who knows, if I would have called her, things might have went different. You know? Mm-hmm. Like I used to tell my kids, there's choices and consequences. Make sure you make the right choice, because whatever choice you make is going to be a ripple effect. It could be a good one, it could be a bad one. But make sure you make the right one. And so my daughter's only problem was she's always trying to help someone. Her heart is what got her killed, because she had a good heart trying to help someone.
What do you hope people take away from the book, Losing Lizzy?
Just love each other, because you never know. Life is so, it goes just like that. I just want people to really embrace that love. Tell each other you love them. Let them know you love them, and, you know, enjoy the time you got. Because nothing's promised in this world. You know, let them know you love them, and don't feel foolish or feel funny to express that, you know.
I don't know how you would describe the feeling of completing a book that so many others wanted you to write that you probably wish you never had to.
Gut-wrenching. As I'm writing, I'm reliving everything, and the hurt is opened again. But I'm writing, hoping it's going to help someone else.
Your entire body of work, where can they go to find that?
You can go to my website. It's papalemonedu.com. You know, local here, and just trying to you know, get some life into kids where they can see themselves in history and see their family, and, you know, maybe they might find out that they had great-grandparents in World War II. He's had a heart attack. She was 30 years old, and she had a coronary artery dissection 1 week after she had her baby. And I was like, oh my God, you know. And I went to the hospital to see her, and, you know, she's all hooked up to tubes, and I'm waiting in the waiting room. I'm looking at these books they had, and they didn't have any books on heart disease for kids to understand about heart disease. So I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to write on Dr. Daniel Hale Williams so kids can understand about the first successful open heart surgery. And I really scrambled. I wrote that book really fast because I wanted to honor my niece with that. And she survived. That was, I think it was 11 years ago. And she's one of the few people that has survived that type of severe heart attack. And sometimes I take her to classrooms with me so she can talk about her experience and what it was like, and so the kids can actually see, Naomi, this is the one that had the heart attack, and she shows them the scar. And the kids get really into it. So I like to do a lot of visual when I do my presentations and so forth. So I want kids to be able to say, wow, this was real. So so I am.
Well, Lehman, I'm so appreciative of you and your time and your willingness to share a little bit of Lizzy with all of us.
I just want to tell her story, and I want it to catch these young ladies' ear that you can't help someone that don't want to be helped. I want other girls, when they get to that crossroad, I got these little buttons, these little Lizzy buttons right here. I made them in honor of my daughter. And when I go to these schools, my goal is to give these buttons to young girls. When they come to that crossroad, think about Lizzy. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Think about Lizzy. You can't help who don't want to be helped.
All right. Thank you so much, Lehman, for sharing that message, for sharing Lizzy with us, and for sharing your story. That's all for Let's Chat today. I'm Shayla Reeves, and we'll see you